Hey, what's going on, guys? Mush back at it with another video, and in today's video I want to take a look at the top 10 upcoming Steam game releases for the month of April. Want to get back to doing this pretty regularly. Without further ado, let's get right into it, and let's start off with arguably the biggest game of April, and that is Resident Evil 3. Obviously, Resident Evil 2 came out last year, and it was received incredibly well, a ground-up remake of RE2, and it did RE2 justice, while retaining the fundamentals of what made that game so great. It also turned it up and made it engaging for a 2019 audience. With Resident Evil 3, it might be a little bit of a dicey pickup since the campaign we know is going to be super short. It'll be beatable in 5 to 7 hours, which just isn't a lot of content for a full $60. Now, you do get Resident Evil Resistance, a new 1v4 online multiplayer game. I just don't know, even with that included, is that justifiable for $60? If nothing else, this is a game you add to your wish list and you pick it up down the line when it gets a little bit cheaper once it's at, $20 to $30, which should happen relatively quickly as we saw with RE2. It might be an awesome buy then, and if you're a big fan of Resident Evil, sure, the campaign might be a little bit shorter, but when aren't the Resident Evil campaigns relatively short? It's sometimes quality over quantity, and Resident Evil really does accentuate that. RE3 will be due out April 3rd. Next up, I want to give a mention to Alders Blood. Alders Blood is a tactical strategy game with stealth-based combat, RPG elements, crafting, resources, gathering and management, exploration, and rich storyline set in a grim world where mankind killed their god and is facing extinction. The game has a lot of different features, including twisted Lovecraftian atmosphere, complex tactical combat, rich lore and RPG mechanics, diverse crafting, weapons, charms, equipment, and consumables, over 70 missions, over 10 hours of main story gameplay, and over 40 hours including the side quests, and it also has a very nice visual style. Honestly, reminds me a little bit of Darkest Dungeon from a look, however, definitely different in its own right, considerably different. I just really like the aesthetic presentation of Alders Blood, and this one is due out on April 10th. Next up, we have Disaster Report for Summer Memories, which is a game being published by NIS America, and it's very different than what they typically put out. It notes, in the shadow of a massive earthquake, you must brave a destroyed city where your choices will determine who ultimately survives. When a massive earthquake strikes the city you're visiting, you find yourself at the epicenter of a chaotic and catastrophic crisis. It's up to you to rise above the calamity, gather your thoughts and your fellow survivors, and outlast the disaster. Aftershocks, fires, collapsing buildings, and debris, and unstable ground are but a few of the threats you'll face in these nightmarish circumstances. What will you do when every passing second and every snap decision could spell the difference between life and death? Your world is in chaos in a city on the brink of collapsing. You'll need to make split-second decisions that will impact your safety as well as that of others. Everybody's got a story. Meet your fellow survivors in a Japanese-inspired city devastated by a powerful earthquake and see how the human spirit bends and sometimes even breaks. Danger at every corner. Navigate a multitude of crises, from collapsing buildings to raging fires in a city aplomb with peril, and a lot more. Again, very different than what NIS typically puts out, but this one looks pretty good. It'll be out April 7th. Next up, we have a brand new massively multiplayer title in Deadside. Deadside is a hardcore multiplayer shooter with survival elements. It notes, a post-apocalyptic, big open world, real weapons, transport, craft, construction. The game is developed using Unreal Engine 4 technology, and the world of Deadside is a vast open world full of bushy forests and abandoned settlements. Players will have an area of about 225 square kilometers entangled by a network of roads and rivers. In early access, specifically, the territory of the game will be limited to an area of 25 square kilometers, so that is something to note. To explore such a vast space, both land and water transport are useful, and Deadside offers you to drive them. It'll also need to be fueled and repaired, and in addition to players, the game world is inhabited by various hostile and friendly NPCs. You've got a variety of different missions, trade and safe zones, building and stashes, weapons and combat systems are accentuated as well, and this one is out April 14th. I know the survival multiplayer game genre is kind of done to death a little bit. We've got titles like Escape from Tarkov and other games doing really well. Deadside, hopefully it can offer something unique in its own right and be a compelling game as well. Next up, we have Hellpoint. Hellpoint is an intense action RPG taking place on Iron Novo, a derelict space station soaked in an intoxicating dark sci-fi atmosphere. Fight dreadful creatures, face the cosmic gods, and unravel their twisted story. Should the challenge be too great, you can also play with a friend in local or online co-op. Obviously, this is another Souls-like game, so for some people, you might be thinking the genre is being done to death a little bit. However, Hellpoint definitely has a unique look to it, and we didn't get Nioh 2 on PC, at least it's not out on PC yet. yet. Maybe it'll be out at some point, so that was one of the more recent Souls-like titles that was a major release, but we didn't have that on PC. In the case of Hellpoint, it's a dark and challenging action RPG. It touts a heavily atmospheric sci-fi universe, and there was a standalone story set in the Hellpoint universe in the Thespian Feast that is available as a freebie, so you can check that out, and that could be a setup for your experience in Hellpoint as well. This one will be out on April 16th. Next up, how about this one? This is one that's going really under the radar, but it looks awesome. That is Cloudpunk, a cyberpunk RPG, a neon noir story in a rain-drenched cyberpunk metropolis. It's your first night on the job working for the Cloudpunk delivery service. Two rules: don't miss a delivery and don't ask what's in the package. Your name is Rania. This is your first night working for Cloudpunk, the semi-legal delivery company based in the sprawling city of Nivalis. You go everywhere from the Morrow below to the spires that pierce the gray clouds high above before scraping the edge of the true troposphere. No delivery job is too dangerous, and no one is faster than a Cloudpunk driver. In this story-based exploration game, you'll meet a diverse range of characters, including androids, AI, and unscrupulous humans at every level of society. Everyone has a story, and in the course of one night in Nivalis, everything will end up changing. The visual style in this game is awesome. I know a lot of you guys dig the cyberpunk setting. That's a big reason why so many people are excited for 2077, but nonetheless, Cloudpunk is going to offer its own unique experience in a cyberpunk world, and it's out April 23rd. Next up, for fans of RPGs, you definitely want to have Celestian Tales Realms Beyond on your watch list. This is one that definitely is an old school RPG, and if you're a fan of games that were, say, coming out on the Super Nintendo, this one is going to be right up your alley. It's a beautifully hand-painted RPG set in a world of questionable morals, much like our own. Follow the journey of 6 companions, knights sworn to serve and protect the heir of a noble house as they rise and fall in their struggle to survive a world where one's true enemies are often their closest allies. The game's key features note a tale without simple rights or wrongs, a beautiful hand-drawn world, which is something that immediately looking at the game, that is something you're gonna notice right off the bat, and a combat system that appreciates your time. We get it. You have a busy life and a lot of stuff competes for your time and attention. We're simply not the kids we used to be with loads of free time to splurge on grinding for levels or items. We know that feeling, and Celestian Tales is made for people like that. Skip the fight, just too damn many random encounters, slither away from them as you like, as each encounter is yours to choose. So if you want something that's a little bit more fast-paced, Celestian Tales Realms Beyond is going to offer you that as well, and the game's out April 23rd. Alright, from one RPG to another, want to give a mention to Trials of Mana, a modern revival of the third game in the Mana franchise. The game, originally released in Japan as Seiken Densetsu 3, now has been fully rebuilt from the ground up as a modern Japanese RPG. The game notes revamped 3D graphics. Trials of Mana is a full 3D remake of the third game in the Mana series, originally released in Japan as Seiken Densetsu 3. The entire game has been fully rebuilt from the ground up with modern 3D graphics. Pick your party. Players can choose their favorite protagonist and 2 companions from 6 different characters. The story will play out in different ways depending on the combination of the protagonist and companions in the story. Battles and character growth. Will you go for light or darkness? Create different character types with a class change system. Character growth has been reworked, adding in new ability mechanics and a 4th class for each character. To expand the breadth of customization, build the party. You want to enjoy a thrilling battle system with expanded action gameplay and new arrangements for a total of 60 musical tracks overseen by composer Kikuta Hiroki. It's also possible to change between the original and arranged soundtracks freely, so it's giving you some options as well. This one has a free demo available, so if you guys do want to check that out, you can do so. And if you want a JRPG that, yes, is a little bit old school, but also modernized, I think Trials of Mana is going to be right up your alley. This one is out April 24th. Alright, next up, a lot of you guys might not be aware that a new Gears game is coming out next month, or I should say this month, end of the month, and that is Gears Tactics, a fast-paced turn-based strategy game from one of the most acclaimed video game franchises yet. However, this is obviously different than your typical Gears game. Not a cover-based third-person shooter, rather a tactics game, and a fast-paced one at that is reminiscent more so of games like XCOM. And so far, the previews are coming out for Gears Tactics, and this is really looking to be a great game done by Splash Damage and the Coalition. Obviously, a title that's going to be up PC gamers' alley with a strategy style, and now it's just great to see these Microsoft games continue to come to PC, and hopefully Microsoft can ramp up their quality level and consistency of bringing these games out. But Gears Tactics does look like a good one, and let's see how it turns out when it drops April 28th. And lastly, I do want to give a mention to Filament. It's a indie strategy puzzle title in a abandoned abandoned spaceship, missing crew, and a lone mysterious voice, solve challenging puzzles, and uncover what really happened to the crew of the Alabaster. And it's a mystery game, it's a exploration game, has a lot of different mechanics, but the main thing is as you survey the ship and solve puzzles, you'll be in constant contact with Juniper, learn more about her crew, and what happened as she opens up to you, so a narrative influence as well. Filament is due out on April 23rd. So that's gonna conclude this video. Again, come April, we're getting a lot of great new Steam games, and I would add all of these to your wish list. Again, for those of you guys that think you own all the great games on Steam, I don't know how that could be, since I'm only covering 10 of the games that we know of with release dates, and they're all coming this month, and a lot of them look really, really good. That's going to conclude this video. Sound off with all of your thoughts in the comment section down below. If you guys have a request for a future video, you can leave that in the comments as well, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Peace out. Hey, what's going on, guys? Mush here again. Hope you enjoyed the video. As you guys might know, YouTube's notification system is sometimes a little bit wonky, even if you're subscribed to the channel. Maybe you're not abundantly aware that I uploaded a video. To remedy that situation, make sure you hit the bell notification button. This way, whenever I upload a new video, and I try to upload as consistently as possible, you will be notified directly of the upload, and you can watch it as soon as it goes live. I would really appreciate it if you guys hit that button so you can stay up to date with all of the content I'm posting. But as always, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out.